Have you ever stopped to think about why some people seem to never mature, even when they're adults? Growing up is inevitable. Maturing is optional. Does this phrase stir something in you? If so, it's probably because it touches a sensitive part of your experience, or maybe someone close to you. Everyone knows someone who has the age of an adult but the behavior of a teenager, right? The question that won't go away is, why does this happen? And more importantly, why is maturing so rare if getting older is everyone's destiny? When we are children, all we want is to grow up. We count the years to be able to do what adults do, go out alone, make decisions, not have to ask permission for everything. We desire freedom so much that we imagine it comes simply with the passing of time. But little by little, life shows us that maturing is not about the birthdays we celebrate, but about the choices we make, day after day. How many of us know someone who has checked all the boxes of adult life? Driver, license diploma, a job, maybe even a family. But in the face of difficulty, they react with tantrums, denial, or escape just like a child who's contradicted. That's when we realize aging is guaranteed. Maturing? Not so much. And why is maturing so difficult? Because maturing takes work. Growing up physically doesn't require conscious effort. It's biology, it's time, it's automatic. But maturing means looking inward, owning up to mistakes, dealing with frustrations, learning from falls, developing empathy, abandoning justifications and excuses. It's much more comfortable to let life go by on autopilot than to take the wheel and consciously choose your own routes. You know that friend who always blames others when something goes wrong, who can't stand being contradicted, who runs from serious conversations. That person might be 20, 30, 40, or 60 years old, but still hasn't understood that maturity is built day by day. How many times have you caught yourself saying, "Oh, that's just who I am," as a way to protect yourself from criticism or from the growth you need? Growing up is letting time pass. Maturing is letting the pains teach you. While growing up is about receiving from life, maturing is about building something new from what you received. It's turning challenges into learning, not into resentment or revolt. Maybe you were raised hearing that maturity came with time, but if you look around, you'll notice. Most people just get older. Have you ever seen people with a lot of life experience and yet trapped in toxic behaviors, repeating mistakes, stuck in old resentments? Do you know someone who keeps coming back to the same destructive relationships, repeating negative patterns, constantly blaming the past for their limitations? These are examples of those who have grown up but have not matured. And do you know why? Because to mature is to have the courage to deal with your own wounds and not to settle for old labels. Have you matured everything you've experienced? Or have you simply let time pass? It's easy to point fingers at those who remain childish. What's hard is to admit your own blind spots. Everyone has a side that still needs to grow and mature. Somewhere in your life, in a relationship, at work, in friendships, with family, you still act like someone waiting for solutions to come from others. Because maturity isn't linear, and it doesn't come stamped on your ID. There's something else important. Maturing doesn't mean becoming cold, cynical, tough, or giving up on dreaming. Many confuse maturity with coldness, but the truth is that maturing brings lightness, the wisdom to laugh at yourself, to forgive, to let go of what no longer makes sense. Growing up is inevitable, but carrying childlike joy along with adult responsibility is the perfect balance. Maturity doesn't take away your shine, it doesn't take away your enthusiasm, it only cuts the chains of emotional dependency and unnecessary drama. And more. To mature is to know how to deal with frustrations, to endure the discomfort of not now, to achieve something greater later. It's taking a step back when necessary, accepting that not everything happens on our timeline, and that life, no matter how much we plan, is unpredictable. Knowing how to wait, understanding that people won't always act like you wish, that things won't always go as expected, is a daily challenge for anyone seeking maturity. Part of maturing is realizing that we all have limitations, including those in whom we put our expectations, and that's okay. It doesn't make you less, in fact. It makes you stronger to deal with the real world, without the childish fantasies of control or perfection. Maturing is also about learning how to say no without guilt, because you value your time, your energy, and your own well-being. It's about knowing how to set boundaries without shame, recognizing that you have the right to protect your mental health even if it disappoints someone. Likewise, to mature is to accept hearing a no from others without creating imaginary enemies, without indignation, without feeding unnecessary resentments. Deep down, it's recognizing that nobody is obligated to fulfill your wishes, and that everyone is responsible for dealing with what they receive, with maturity, respect, and gratitude. Notice, those who mature make less noise, spend less time complaining, don't see a point in criticizing everything around them. They prefer the productivity of silence, they feel the pain, yes, but do not turn it into weapons against the world. They learn to suffer in their own time, processing everything with courage, because they know that life isn't seeking guilty parties, but answers from those who choose to face and grow, no matter their age. The main message in all this is straightforward. Don't wait for time to do for you what only you can do for yourself. Maturity isn't an automatic consequence of days passing, but the result of choices you make every moment. If you keep postponing facing your issues, keep handing the responsibility for your emotional growth to others, parents, partners, bosses, friends, or believe that one day life will magically grant you maturity, you'll only end up collecting years and not wisdom. Take a moment, look within, ask yourself honestly, in what area of my life is maturity still a challenge? What fears are you still hiding? What situations are you avoiding? What conversations are you postponing because they make you uncomfortable? What excuses keep you stuck in the same place? Facing these questions hurts, but maturing, above all, is an act of honesty with yourself. Allow yourself to break out of the inertia of automatic growth, the kind that simply follows the biological flow, and take for yourself the power to lead your own process of maturing. There is no one in the world capable of doing this work for you. Family, friends, professionals can support you, but only you can truly dive into this journey. And it is essential to understand that mature people aren't necessarily the oldest ones in the room, but those who have had the courage to step out of their comfort zone and make life a continuous learning process. And you don't have to wait for everything to fall apart, for a trauma, a huge crisis to finally change. When you choose to grow a little every day, making small conscious decisions, whether it's admitting a mistake, apologizing, facing a difficult conversation, or changing a routine that doesn't make sense anymore, you build an inner strength, an emotional muscle that is much more stable and resilient. This consistency is where true maturity lives, subtle yet transformative. And here's an invitation. Break free from the myth that time solves everything. Time passes for everyone, but the choice to mature is only yours. If this video made sense to you, if you believe that maturity is built day by day, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Leave a comment telling me where you feel you need to mature the most. And remember, you can grow with me. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and let's go together on this journey of maturing. Because in the end, growing up is for everyone. Maturing is for those who are brave.